Tonight on Business Live, International Monetary Fund links creditors' commitment to debt exchange program as key requirement for Ghana securing a bailout approval by board. We'll hear from the head of the IMF mission to Ghana, Stefan Rodet.
It can come in the form of commitment, depending on the type of creditors. This is exactly it. This is the commitment from creditors that they'll be able to deliver relief that is consistent with the parameters of the program.
Also coming up in this bulletin, former Finance Minister Seth Terkper warns managers of the economy to restore fiscal reforms and improve accounting and fiscal standards in order to manage the next crisis that will hit the economy.
We must restore credibility to this as a structural way of stabilizing the economy. If we keep depleting, using those funds, we will not be prepared for the next crisis.
Plus, as Ghanaians are being encouraged to patronize and consume locally produced goods, how ready are our industries to cash in? We will engage the Association of Ghana Industries as part of the Ghana Month series. We have details of these and many others coming your way in a moment. Please stay. And those who are your latest commodities updates, I am Pious Kojo Backah. Let's now settle for the details. The board of the International Monetary Fund will be seeking clear commitment from Ghana's creditors that they will participate in the country's debt exchange program. Now, this will be one of the key requirements the board will be seeking before it approves Ghana's economic program. Now, this is based on fresh engagements with the IMF officials in Washington, D.C. in the USA. Now, it follows concerns that Ghana will struggle to get a board approval if it fails to secure a debt cancellation from its creditors, especially China. But the fund insists that it is not an immediate focus. The officials were, however, tight-lipped on whether Ghana can secure a program with the fund by the end of this month. Meanwhile, the head of the IMF mission to Ghana, Stefan Rodet, in an earlier interview with Joy Business, reiterated some of these fresh assurances from the fund.
Now, when it comes to the next steps, the goal now is to be able to present the authority's request to our executive board. And to be able to do that, we need what we call financing assurances. And what that means is that we need Ghana's partners, the development partners, to contribute and to give our board assurances and comfort that they will also contribute to the financing of the program. And it also means that we need assurances and a level of comfort that creditors will also provide the debt relief that is necessary to put debt on a sustainable path.
Assurances in what form? Because in one breath you also explained to us that the treatment of the debt is a sovereign issue. So where do we draw the line when you say that you just need assurances they are contributing to the debt program? And I was a little bit confused, so help me out, please.
So the Ghanaian authorities have developed a strategy to deal with their debt burden. It includes restructuring of the debt, and they are seeking relief from various categories of creditors. And so what is meant by assurances is meant that we need the process to be sufficiently advanced so that some progress is being made to go in the direction of that debt restructuring, and to provide comfort to our executive board, our executive directors, that that strategy is on track.
And if I just to break it down further, so that this assurance should come in a form of a commitment from these creditors that government will secure, or what? Because how then do you get the communication that George Yaffe, who was a major creditor to the government of Ghana, is cleared or is committed to this whole financing or debt strategy for the Republic of Ghana?
Yeah, it can come in the form of commitment, depending on the type of creditors. This is exactly it. This is the commitment from creditors that they'll be able to deliver relief that is consistent with the parameters of the program.
And that should be a written text or something, or what?
No, it depends on the type of creditors, and it's a judgment call on the part of the institution.
Now, how do we draw the line between it being a sovereign issue and then again the commitment? Because some would say that you can't take yourself out of it when in one breath you're looking for that commitment from these creditors.
What is important for the IMF is that Overall, the strategy delivers on a certain level of relief at the aggregate level so that the objectives in terms of debt sustainability are being achieved. Now, how that relief is being provided, it's very much for the government to decide. This is the part that is a sovereign decision. And so what I meant is that the type of debt that is included in the perimeter of the debt restructuring, the parameters of the debt restructuring, how much relief is being sought from one type of creditor versus another, how the process that is being used to reach out to creditors, to negotiate with creditors, all of that are the parts that are very much in the domain of the government and for the government to decide upon. These are the sovereign decisions.
You heard Stefan Rode in that interaction with my colleague George Viafit there. Now we are joined via Zoom by Senior Finance Lecturer at the University of Ghana Business School, Dr. Benjamin Amoah, for his perspective on this matter. Grateful you could join us, Mr. Amoah. Now, will you describe this latest stance coming from the IMF as a big relief for Ghana?
Yes, it is indeed a good one, considering especially what we heard from the discussion that the German ambassador had with, I think, Joy FM last week. Clearly, if you follow that discussion, the discussion was pointing to the fact that until China makes a clear case for Ghana, reaching a deal with the IMF was going to be difficult. So if we are now hearing from the IMF that, yes, indeed, creditors must come clear on their position on the debt, but still, that notwithstanding, the IMF can still give us a good case, then I think it is indeed a great relief that, yes, the creditors matter, but then the IMF, that is at the center or core of all this discussion, is still considering and is very interested in getting Ghana to get the deal come on board so we can put the economy back on track. So it is indeed a good relief.
And do you think it does make our negotiations with these creditors a tough one or flexible one? How easy would that be?
It is more of a flexible one if you are considering, because in all these discussions, it is the IMF that is providing that level of assurance. And if you look at what we are going to get, we are seeking the funds or the support from the IMF. On the other hand, IMF and the World Bank is not the only creditor nation to Ghana. We are talking about a debt restructuring where there must be burden sharing. From the domestic point of view, the government has succeeded in getting domestic creditors to agree to some form of debt burden sharing. The creditors the external creditors must also come on board, members of the Paris Club, to also take up some of the burden sharing. It is very, very important that members of the Paris Club, who are also creditors to Ghana, will also take some of the burden sharing, including China, of course, but of course, because it's the IMF that is the institution that is trying to put all these together, the IMF has more say in terms of how far we can reach as far as the negotiations with the Paris Club is concerned. So it is indeed good that the IMF is committed to help Ghana and to come into a good conclusion with the members of the Paris Club. And once the IMF is okay with our discussions or our intent so far as the Paris Club members is concerned, I think it's a good news for us and we can work with that.
Interesting. It is good that you've brought China in the discussion. Let's look at how our negotiations with the Asian country can go. How can we get around it in terms of securing a favorable agreement?
You know, Ghana, like we know, is indebted to China to the tune of about 1.7 trillion US dollars. That is sort of 1.7 billion US dollars. That's quite some money considering what we are bringing on board. And so, if all the other members are committed to partake in the burden sharing, it's sometimes very difficult to see one member of the creditor group staying very quiet and not coming so clear on what it intends to do as far as taking part of the burden of the table. So now that we are having some support or some inroads with the IMF, I think we can use that now as a country to approach the discussion with China and also use the commitment that the other members of the Paris Club are bringing on board to help us to go through this debt exchange program and talk to China and hope that with the commitment from the other creditor member, China will also see itself as part of the group that must also share off some of the benefits that it is currently accruing from our indebtedness to China, so that they can also take part of the burden sharing as we all try to get ourselves out of this difficulty. Mind you, it is not only Ghana that is difficulty. The creditors who have also extended their support to us financially also have a stake. And so every member of this creditor group to Ghana must also show commitment. With others coming on board, I think China will show enough support and they will definitely come on table to help us to get the deal from IMF.
It seems you are all itchy to know when exactly China will come on board. But from your assessment, can we meet the March ending deadline?
It is good if we are able to meet it. That will be the biggest, news for all of us. But then again, we should get what we have to do on our part done. And we should also follow through with the leadings of IMF and the promptings that they give us on what we have to do. The most important thing is that the IMF is giving us the green light and is encouraging us to do what we have to. That's the most important thing. And so once you have their support, sometimes it becomes a little bit easy to get the buy-ins of the other creditor nations. We shouldn't forget that domestically we have succeeded in having our exchange program largely accepted. So all that we are doing now is to also convince the external creditors, just like what we're able to do the domestic creditors, to come on board. But like I said earlier on, once the IMF is positive about our case, strongly, I believe that our creditors will also give us a hand of help, including China, as we put ourselves together and as we come out of this difficulty. So definitely, we are positive that come end of this month, we'll hear something positive as far as the debt exchange program is concerned.
We keep our fingers crossed to that. But before you go, how should government and, of course, the finance ministry manage the market expectations in terms of securing this program by March ending?
What they have to do is simple, is to feed the market with all the relevant information as and when it trickles in. So anytime there is any relevant news that the market will have to process in terms of positioning their investment and their engagement with Ghana, it will be necessary that the ministry and the government will bring it out. At this point in time, the market need relevant information to take decisions. So any piece of news that is material, that is relevant, the ministry as well as the government will have to bring it onto the market so that the market can respond appropriately for us to get out of this difficulty. It may not be palatable, but it's better you bring it out. It may also be good news, you have to bring it out. We should not be hiding some information. We should be as transparent as we, so that we can have the confidence in the market and investors can still have the goodwill to do business with us.
Grateful, Dr. Benjamin Amoah, for your time here on Business Live. He's a finance lecturer at the University of Ghana Business School, sharing his perspective with us on the latest development. Now, former Finance Minister Seth Terkper is warning managers of the economy to restore fiscal reforms and improve accounting and fiscal standards in order to manage the next crisis that will hit the economy with ease. According to him, the country cannot continue to operate in its current way, else it will not survive the next crisis. Speaking to the media, Mr. Terkper also called for the restoration of links in the fiscal framework, such as deficits, fiscal balances, borrowing, and financing.
There's a need to address the following fiscal, issues, or the fiscal structure, restore fiscal reforms, revenue modernization. That is ongoing, but I think it needs to be accelerated. Improve on our accounting and fiscal standards. We can't operate in an environment where every minister would have a discretion as to what to include or not to include. You remember the saga of footnotes and the rest, which has landed us to where we are. And then we must restore credibility to two laws, the PRMA, out of which came the Budget, Responsibility Act. It was, it only quantifies certain provisions in the PFMA, and then the PRMA. These are carefully designed to control expenditure, to manage expenditure, and to be accountable, the PFMA and the PRMA, the use of oil resources. So we must restore credibility to this as a structural way of stabilizing the economy. If we keep depleting, using those funds, we will not be prepared for the next crisis. And you can't manage an economy without facing crisis. That's not possible. Even in the US, there's intense debate and discussion, about setting up these funds, the European Union as well.
Mr. Sekpe also called for the clarification of the role of independence of the Bank of Ghana, saying the independence of the central bank must not be threatened. A reminder, you're still watching Business Live with me, Pious Kojo Backah. Still to come, as Ghanaians are being encouraged to patronize and consume locally produced goods, how ready are our industries to cash in? We will engage the Association of Ghana Industries as part of the Ghana Month series shortly. Welcome back. This is Business Live. Now, still in the spirit of our Ghana Month series, Ghanaians are being encouraged to patronize and consume locally produced items. But how ready are our industries to leverage these opportunities? We throw the spotlight on the Association of Ghana Industries to ascertain their preparedness. Joining us via Zoom is the Greater Accra Regional Chairman of AGI, Chonam Apalu, for more. Grateful, Mr. Apalu, you could join us on Business Live. How are your members positioning themselves to leverage this Ghana Month initiative?
Thank you. Good evening, and good evening to your cherished listeners. It's Chonam Akpelo. Just a bit of correction. So, yes, we're in Ghana Month, and AGI is excited to be part of this whole process of celebrating the Ghana Month. The good news is that local industrialization has been very high on the agenda of the AGI, and as a result, we've been able to develop capacities to produce most of the products that we need in Ghana locally. So as I speak to you, we have the capacity to produce almost all of the things you need. If you wake up from the morning, so you need a Pepsodent, you need a toothpaste, and we are able to produce all of that locally. You need, from there, you need to be able to go to your office, you need to put on a dress. Our garment and apparel sector is really up to the task. Most of the fabric you see are produced locally. In fact, we've got local capacity to produce more than enough. Our people are very stylish. Our garment products are demanded globally. Talk about our cosmetic products, from the pomade we use to the hair pomade, the body creams, all of that. We've got local capacity to produce all of them. Talk about food. We're able to produce, we have rice locally that's available, that everybody can buy. Good quality, very tasty, and the price is very competitive. And you can talk about other industrial products like paint. We have got the capacity, sanitary pads, mattress, cooking oil, all of these. So what I'm saying is that we've got capacity to produce all of these things we need locally. What we need now, especially during Ghana Month, is to have every Tom, Dick, and Harry patronize products that are produced locally. That way, all of us can be part of developing the nation. Clearly, we are at the stage where the nation is going through very difficult times because we need money. The only way we can mobilize enough taxes is when we patronize our products, so government can generate more taxes on the goods we produce.
It's very good to know that you are well positioned to cash in on this Ghana Month initiative. But you would agree with me that there are some challenges bothering your members, and I want to find out from you how you feel these challenges can be addressed.
Thank you. Yes, as you know clearly, it appears that it's more lucrative to import finished products to Ghana than to manufacture them. The thing is that the environment for producing locally is quite harsh for our entrepreneurs. So think about inflation. Inflation is moving around 54%. And vis-a-vis also the exchange rate. So as I speak, if Monday you sit in your boardroom, you have weekly meetings to decide on a product and make decisions. By the time it is Tuesday, the rate has changed. So we're unable to plan anything. Okay, and talk about cost of borrowing. Every now and then, you see the central bank increasing the policy rate, thereby increasing the rate at which you borrow from the banks. In fact, if you're able to get money at, say, 20% per annum, you should be a lucky businessman. However, 20% is the highest you can ever find in any country, even in Africa. Our neighbors are not doing that. So the challenges are real, really real. But in the midst of all of these challenges, our members are determined to make sure that we produce enough for the country. What we need, what is crucial now, is really to get all the citizens to patronize Made in Ghana. That way we can promote our own and make sure that we mobilize the needed revenue for national development.
All right, Mr. Akpelu, final question to you, and you can make that in a minute for me. How do you think we can sustain this initiative even beyond March?
That's a great question. The thing is that promoting Ghana and buying Made in Ghana should not be an event. It's a process. We need the support of both the media and government to ensure that continually we promote Made in Ghana. In fact, we encourage all the media houses to create, as a matter of necessity, programs that is geared towards ensuring that our Made in Ghana products are always promoted. And above all, encourage your people that when March ends, we should continue to all buy Ghana.
We'll certainly do that. Thank you very much, Yona Makwelu, who is the Greater Accra Regional Chairman of the Association of Ghana Industries, speaking to us there. Now, stakeholders in the aquaculture industry are concerned about the increasing cost of fish feed. Chief Executive of the Chamber of Aquaculture Ghana, Jacob Jika, indicated that the price of fish feed has multiplied by 200%. According to him, the rising cost of ingredients such as maize and soya has led to the sector to rely heavily on imports. Speaking to Joy Business, Mr. Ajika further made a call to the government for tax waivers and research to discover new ingredients for fish feed production, among others.
Recently, we've seen drastic increase in the prices of fish feed, and this can be traced to the rising prices of fish feed ingredients. You know, the feed producers use soya, maize, fish feed concentrates, vitamins, etc. to produce the feed. If you look at our environment at the moment, they are not getting access to adequate soya and maize, which serves as their carbohydrate and protein ingredients to produce the feed for the aquaculture industry. So the only alternative is to resort to maybe importing it from abroad. There again, the issues of the forest is there. Then also, if you manage to have access to those ingredients from abroad and you import them, when you get to the port, there is huge import duty waiting for you. So at the end of the day, if they manage to even clear the ingredients from the ports to their factories, after the production is done, the prices of fish feed are quite very high at the moment. So if you compare the price from last year till now, you could see that prices have gone up by almost 200%. If you look at the critical role the aquaculture sector plays and the role of feed producers in our business, we think we need some short-term or tailored tax exemption for feed producers. Then we should be looking at medium-term solutions like embarking on aggressive research to look.
Thanks so much for being part of the bulletin. I am Pious Kojo Backah. You can always get business stories when you log on to myjoyonline.com/business. Always a pleasure serving you. Let's connect same time tomorrow. Bye-bye.